Hello and welcome to the Habitat Project podcast, where we talk about cultivating good habits, pursuing our dreams, and enjoying life. I am Anthony, and these are my findings on how to make the most out of each day and enjoy the process along the way. Let's go. In this episode, I talk about how I design my workouts during high-stress life crisis periods. My name is Anthony, and I've been a functional fitness, previously CrossFit affiliated, gym owner, and coach since 2012. I combine the modalities of functional fitness, mindfulness meditation, and a study and application of Stoic philosophy to train myself and my clients to be best prepared for whatever life throws at us. These practices helped me overcome a life-altering natural disaster in 2018, where a tsunami and earthquake destroyed our family's business. In this episode, I will share my way of creating time-efficient workouts that are plug and play and get you the most bang for your buck and allows you to practice being present whilst tiring out your body to help with sleep, or while you may be overwhelmed with life's challenges. Let's get into today's episode. The reason for creating this episode is because recently I have had to train in this way. When all the shit hit the fan and I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating right, I wasn't functioning properly, I've had to be able to find time to get into the gym to train. And with this way of training, or the design of these kinds of workouts, I have found to be easy to implement. I have found to be most effective in terms of keeping up my fitness levels. And also it allows me to push the intensity to a level where I would actually be able to sleep at night. So there are three aspects to the way that these workouts are designed. Number one, the first aspect is it needs to be time efficient. These workouts can't be, hours. Can't be, different pieces. And we train in the gym, we get in there for hours. Number one, during these times, we're probably getting, no sleep or lack of sleep. And two, we just don't have time to be staying in the gym and doing all these training pieces. We need to get back to problem solving mode. We need to get back to, whatever emergencies that we're dealing with. So number one is the time frame for these kind of workout. It needs to be very easy to implement. It needs to be very time effective. Number two, we're going to talk about the movement choices. It can't be something that is just works out one part of the body. So we want to split this and have three types of movements. Number one being a body weight movement or gymnastics movement. Number two being a compound lift. Maybe that's, squats, deadlift, press, or if you know how to do weightlifting, snatch, clean and jerk, or a variation of those. And number three, a cardio component as well. So jumping on the rower, air bike, or running, or skipping, or burpees, something like that. And then also maybe incorporating a rest into it as well, a timed rest into the piece. And the last component of this is to be able to add, if required, if you have time, if you feel like it, a unsustainable piece of training into the training piece as well. So let's get into the details, a deep dive into how this time efficient workout can be designed, can be plug and play for any day of the week when you feel overwhelmed and you just need to get in and get your workout done. This episode is brought to you by Habitat Mind Body. Habitat Mind Body is a functional fitness mindfulness meditation center in Docklands in Melbourne. If you want to train these modalities, train in an environment, in a community that is one that supports one another, pushes each other, keeps each other accountable, sign up to be a founding inhabitant by going to our website, habitatmindbody.com. untitled.com. The first aspect I want to talk about is the time. To keep things simple, I always use a EMOM, or every minute on the minute style of training. So what this means is the first minute, I'll do the first movement, second minute, second movement, third minute, third movement, fourth minute, etc. In this case, because we are short on time, we don't want to overthink things. So if we only have 20 minutes, okay, we'll make the workouts 20 minutes. If we have 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 40, so we can just plug that in. So let's say we only have less than 30 minutes. So less than 30 minutes, and we want to get the main piece of the workout in less than 30 minutes. So EMOM style, let's say I usually have the 3 movements with a built-in rest, so 4 components together. Less than 30 minutes will mean, let's say 28 minutes is the actual workout piece. And that means every minute on the minute for 28 minutes, first minute, first movement, second minute, second movement, third minute, third movement, and then fourth minute, a rest period. Now, the reason for the rest period is to keep this training piece sustainable. This means that we can sustain the intensity, sustain the rep scheme over the course of the whole 28 minutes. And the cool thing about this is also it trains our awareness as to how recovered we are. Before we move on with this, the opposite of this is a unsustainable piece where we'll push beyond our thresholds, and basically over the course of the training piece, we become less and less effective as we become more and more fatigued. In a sustainable piece, because there's a built-in rest, because we are choosing rep schemes, as we'll talk about later on, that are going to allow us to work sustainably, it is at a lower intensity, which means we can move at a better quality, but also it's conducive to the time or the period of crisis that we're in. We don't want to go into their guns blazing on little sleep or no sleep, high stress, and probably not eating properly, because that also increases our likelihood of getting injured. So built-in rest period is what I prefer. You don't have to do that if you feel like you don't need it, but I would recommend having a built-in rest period. The cool thing about an EMOM is also that if at the end of the EMOM training you feel like, I can actually still push harder, I still have fuel in the tank, I feel energized still, and I want to have this quote unquote finisher to maybe feel the higher intensity from the workout, you can add a 4-time unsustainable piece at the end, and we can talk about this. We will talk about this later on. The last part that is cool about the EMOM style is it's flexible with this plug and play. You can just insert different movements into the different minutes that you'll be working, which brings us to item 2, movement choice. For me, I usually choose 3 movements, with the first one being a body weight movement, and then the second one being a compound lift, third one being a cardio movement, and then in the 4th minute, I will rest. Now, how do I choose which component to put first and second? It really depends on which one is my weakness or which one I want to work more on for that particular training session. So for example, if I want to improve more on my handstand push-ups, then I will put that first. If the handstand push-up is the first movement, then maybe the second movement I would choose a compound lift that is complementary to the handstand push-up. So it's already an upper body pushing movement. So in the second movement, maybe I won't do, like a clean and jerk or a snatch, because then I'll still be doing the upper body push movement. I'll choose something like maybe a deadlift or a power clean, where I'll get more out of the lower body push. So choosing your workouts, choosing the movement, this way will allow you to get more bang for your buck because you're working more parts of your body. And choosing the movement that you are weaker at or that you want to train more on as the first movement allows you to be more fresh, allows you to be more recovered, and to get more quality reps on that particular movement. So if you want to switch it around, of course you can. If you want to train more on your compound lifts because you are better at your gymnastics or bodyweight movements, you can certainly do so. And you just make the lifts, in that first minute, the bodyweight movement in the second minute, and then keep that cardio movement in the third minute. Now, in the third minute, I like to put the cardio component in because then we also improve our cardio. The cardio component also helps us increase the caloric output over the course of the training period, which even though this is a plug and play, singular training session, but it still helps us improve or increase our overall caloric output. And then in the fourth minute, in the rest, I use a 2-nose inhale, long mouth exhale, physiological sigh, breathing pattern to help decrease the heart rate. And then I also practice widening my visual field or widening my eye gaze. I find that this helps calm the mind, calm the body, ground myself back into the present and be ready for the next 3 minutes of work. The rep schemes, this really depends on obviously your individual capabilities, but we want to train sub maximal. You're not going to lift to your to failure with each of the minutes because that's going to be unsustainable. You're not going to be able to maintain that for the whole, in this case, 28 minutes. So what you want to do is pick a rep scheme that you can sustain work for about 45 to 50 seconds, and you'll have that 10 seconds worth of rest before moving on to the next movement. Obviously, if you don't know what that is, being on the more conservative side will be better. And of course, you can increase that as the rounds go by if you feel like you can do more. But having a rule of thumb that you want to work under that 45 seconds to 50 second time frame. So maybe in the bodyweight movement, that might actually be too much. So if you know what your thresholds are, let's say you know how many pull-ups you can do, go to about 60% of that or 70% of that, so that you can sustain that over the course of the training period. Lastly, the option to add an unsustainable piece. With this, I want to warn that to only add this if you feel up for it, if it's absolutely necessary, and you can still move with good quality movement patterns. And the way that I do this is I put a 4-time piece, so complete X amount of work as fast as possible with good quality movement with relatively high intensity. And the rule of thumb that I use is a 3x on the rep schemes that were in the EMOM. So what this would look like, put together, for example, the every minute on the minute piece is, for 28 minutes, is 10 bodyweight pull-ups, followed by 10 front squats, followed by 20 calories on the rower, and then 4th minute I rest. Once I finish the 28 minutes of that work, maybe I rest for 3 minutes in between. if I feel up for it. If I don't, after that 1 minute, go straight into this unsustainable 4-time piece. So 3x the body weight movement will be then 4-time 30 body weight pull-ups, 30 front squats, and 60 calories on the rower. Again, look to move with quality, but in this case, because it's a 4-time piece, you can push for larger sets. You'll increase the workload that are conducive for muscle endurance, and at the end you get this big opportunity for a big 60 calories row push to quote unquote feel the burn, to increase the intensity, to just leave it all out on the floor. So that is how I create a simple plug and play training piece. Don't have to think too much about it. It's just a single training piece that is most bang for your buck, that is time efficient, that allows you to train all parts of your body, train some strength, train some muscular endurance, train your cardio, and you get to do it in a sustainable way so that you can do it with quality movements. You get to do it with a rest period built in so that you can be aware of how your body and mind has recovered and how it feels to get back into each round, and being aware of how the body is adapting throughout the workout. And at the end, if you have time, if you still feel up for it, you can easily create a 4-time unsustainable piece for that final push. If you found this useful and you want to give it a try, I'll make a blog post about this, which can be found at habitatmindbody.com. In there, I'll have more in-depth examples, more how-tos on creating not just the main training piece, but also the warm-up and recovery for it as well. If you have tried this before, let us know in the comments how you went and how it felt before and after, especially if you are going through a bit of a crisis period. And that's it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Habitat Project podcast. Please rate us on Spotify. That will really help out this little show that I'm building. Also check out our YouTube channel at the Habitat Project. Like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends and family that might find it useful as well. And see you on the next episode.